Shalom, people. This is Brother Lyles coming at you with another video. And it's been a few months since I have talked about West Africa and some of the things that have been going on over there. I would just like to say, again, I have several videos out that I think you should look at. Primarily, one of mine I made several years ago dealing with the Nigerian elections where Tinubu, was elected, basically rather stole the election. But thank the Most High that things are looking up for West Africa, besides the stuff that's going on in Nigeria. And of course, the created terrorism that was allowed to creep into West Africa by the West to try to destabilize the West African nations. I thank the Most High for not just opening up the eyes of his people, but also all descendants of Abraham. Because remember, Ishmael is a descendant of Abraham. Esau is a descendant of Abraham. And so we have to understand that the Bible said that anyone that was connected with Abraham would be a blessed people. And today we want to talk again about the descendants of Ishmael. And I made a video about that, that Ishmael shall be a great people, in particular talking about Burkina Faso and talking about their leader, Ibrahim Traoré. Now, I think when I made that video last year, I did state, look, I understand that the man is not a quote unquote believer and all these different things. But the Bible said that the heart of the king or the rulers of this world are in the hands of the Most High, and he can turn them in whatever way that he can. And even though, understand what I'm saying, this man is not a believer in the sense of what we say in, believe in Yeshua, and obviously, like I said, he's in a Islamic country. He is putting to shame all these quote unquote Christian nations in the world like America on how he is taking care of his people, sacrificing wealth and privilege and all these things to make sure that the people of Burkina Faso are taken care of. And this is very important to me, because when my wife did her genealogy on her father's side, she found that her fathers, they had connections to the people of Burkina Faso. Now, my understanding, my belief is that a lot of the quote unquote Hebrew tribes that are in West Africa, not all of them are Jacob. I believe that quite a few of them are Ishmael, Esau, the Moabites, the Ammonites, their descendants. But I do believe it's a significant amount of us that are still there in West Africa. But I do believe that we kind of sprinkled amongst that, because the Bible said he would scatter us amongst the people. So you will never find where we're going to be a people that's going to outnumber. But that's the sidebar. What I want to talk about is, again, like I said in my video about Ishmael, that he would be a great people. And this man, Ibrahim Traoré, is not for his quote unquote faith in Islam or whatever. You would think this man was a believer, the way that he is walking in faith, walking in courage, walking in integrity. He putting all people that say that they believe in Yeshua or Yah or God, whoever, he putting all of you to shame. He putting all the Western leaders. He putting all the black politicians and all really in the world to shame, the way that he is operating to take care of his people. Do you understand that there was a 19th assassination attempt on his life a few days ago? Do you understand that? What did the Bible say that Yeshua said to his disciples? He said, greater love has no man that he would lay down his life for a friend. This man is laying down his life to try to take care of the people of Burkina Faso in their threat against from the West. Not just a threat, no, the actions of the West to bring down not only him but Mali and Niger. You understand what I'm saying? But in the face of all that, not having a belief, quote unquote, in Yeshua, this man is going out. He has no concern. I understand he's not stupid now. He walks around with the sidearm on his hand, so he's ready for battle. But he has no concern for that. He goes into the war zones where they be fighting to help try to reach some of these villages. He embodies a lot of the stuff that, you know, people was teaching you in Sunday school or Sabbath school or wherever about integrity and looking out for the least of us. He is doing that. And this is giving us an understanding of one time that y'all wanted our people to operate like that. That when you see one such as King David, and you see how he was yet a warrior, but he was yet compassion for the sheep, that he would give his life when the lion and the bear attack his flock. And then y'all say, I can take that and I can transfer it to him taking care of the least of the people in my kingdom. And how when the Bible said when David was thrown out into the wilderness running from Saul, he said all the poor, all the maimed, all those that was in debt did what? They came to David to say, you're going to be our leader because we know that you have a shepherd's heart, but you're yet a ravenous a lion against the enemies of Yah and against the enemies of Yah people. This is what Ibrahim Traoré embodies, not just as a African a man, but of what all black men on this planet should endeavor, outside of his religious beliefs, I'm saying, but should endeavor. This is what I want to see of this thing called not just the awakening, but black men, whether you Christian, whatever you are, this is where we are supposed to be. This is where we're supposed to be walking in this, where we are standing up and being the magnet for those that are weak and oppressed and need help and need shelter and need help, that they are drawn to you because they know that within you, you have the desire and the capacity, and that you will seek to get it done as he has sought to get it done for his people and has done more in less than 4 years than some African presidents and some black politicians here in America for decades that have been in power have not done nothing compared to what he has done. He has taken control over their natural resources, gold and all those other natural resources, and made those companies, those European companies that want to stay and do business, you're going to have to pay taxes. He has drilled down on the corruption in his nation. He has so inspired the people to understand that we can't wait for the West to help us get rid of this not just criminal element, but also this international terrorist threat that they have fomented against us, and that if we want to get it done, we got to get it done ourselves because we waited on France. We waited on America to come in and do different things for us, and look what it got us. And this is what I'm saying to us as black people, as Hebrew men in this nation. I'm not saying to you that you got to go out and save a whole country, but save your family as much as you now. Understand this, everyone is not going to be saved, but in the embodiment of what he is doing, right? And notice this, he's not flashy. He's straight to the point. You don't see him flossing and all these different things. He is getting the work done. But men in the West, in particular us black men, we have become too pampered. We have become too what's the word the Bible said? Effeminate. We really have been. Understand what I'm saying? It's not nothing wrong with you making sure your hair is cut, your beard is trimmed, your skin is clean or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with making sure that you bathe and you put a little cologne on if you want to put some cologne on or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong if you want to have a nice watch that you use to tell time. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with you if you want to get some nice clothes, every now and then. But I'm saying we have got to that level that we're more form than substance. And that brings me back to the scripture where the Bible says they will have a form of godliness, but they deny the power thereof. Within this nation of America and in the West, indeed, wealth and the accumulation of things is considered to be godly. And Yah warned us against it. They said gain has become godliness to these people. That I can, as a man, go out and I go get my pedicure, at least once a week, because you gotta take care of your feet, man. I go to get my masseuse and all that. This is, understand what I'm saying. We gotta get back to the bare bones of what it means to live in this world. The Bible says, Paul said, he said, a man that does not want to work should not eat. If you understand this, because we as black people have come out some trauma. There's no doubt about it. But one of the things that we understood is that time in the past, time waited for no one. And if we sat there and we sulked, even after some of our ancestors' homes and towns were burnt to the ground, they would have to flee to other towns. And it's not that if they would have went to counseling or something like that, that would have been wrong, but they didn't have that there. So they, in many places, they had to suck it up and restart where they was at. Because if they didn't, they was going to get swallowed up. But then Yah gave us I guess a little reprieve, but we got too comfortable. We got too comfortable with the integration thing. And then we start finding ourselves loving some of these creature comforts that now we have access more than our oppressors, to where we just say, just lay it down, right? And if I can't get this kind of job, then I ain't gonna take no job at all. If I can't get this kind of job, I'm not gonna do this. And now that a lot of the doors are closing on some of these things, what are some of you gonna do now? What kind of pattern did we set for our children, right? Where they don't know how to hustle legally. Understand what I'm saying? Where they get out there and bust they behind to make sure that as a man, right, that not only you have what you need, but those that you were responsible for would. Instead, what we promoted, black man, when you get out here, you make the illegitimate children, right? then somehow you blame it on the woman for deceiving you or whatever, and then you run and skate and try to evade child support. Not all of you, I know some of you did try to, I'm saying, but overall, and we created this culture where it was like, take care of yourself first. And to be honest, some of this was even started back long time before that, but I'm saying it has intensified to this part where when you see a man like Ibrahim Traoré that's willing to lay his life on the line for the least of these that are in his country, you don't see that overall in the black community. In fact, you see elders like myself that are out here. They're trying to scoop up all the young women for themselves. They're trying to outswag the youth. I can walk with swag just like the young ones. This is not for you to do that. It's you to try to get the black men on a different path than what you said. And it's, understand what I'm saying, and understand that it's about the bare bones thing that we got to get right first, right? Security. What's the thing that Ibrahim Traoré is concerned with? He's concerned with making sure his people are safe, making sure his people are fed, making sure his people understand sacrifice, that, hey, things don't come without a price. I'm afraid that, where there is smoke, sometimes there is fire. And we have definitely been very vocal on the fact that these people do owe us reparations. There's no doubt about it. But we also got to admit when we are wrong. And we have to admit that when we started seeing some of these programs that we for years have been using, and we were using them wrongly, talking about welfare, food stamps, and all these things, and we seen these immigrants come in here and get them and stuff, and we start complaining. We have not been using these things the way that they were supposed to be used, because we have had generations somewhat of our people that have been on these benefits and have been getting on some of these roles, and now that they're getting ready to take some of these roles away, especially when Trump come in, some of you are going to spend the whole Trump presidency complaining to him instead of waking up. Like, I remember when Reagan came in the 80s, he was doing the same thing. He was rolling back a lot of that stuff that Jimmy Carter, who just passed away, was, and by the way, his presidency was really not that great of a presidency. They said most of his achievements, if you want to call them that, came after he got out of the presidency. But a lot of that stuff that he set in motion ended up being causing a lot of problems for us as black people. In fact, his thing of getting rid of what we call redlining is one of the things that introduced some of those subprime loans that came to bite a lot of black people. And I know that because I have family members in the 70s that got in some of those programs, and some of those mortgage companies ended up folding during that crisis, and some of them ended up either close to losing their home or lost their homes because of some of this stuff that was started in the Carter administration. Understand what I'm saying? We have to look at Burkina Faso. Ibrahim Traoré, he admits, he said, before we chase France out, we have to admit that we was once a tool in the hands of France, because we was dependent on France for everything. So we was also a tool that France was using to destabilize West Africa. But when we woke up and said, no, we will not have no more dealings with France, then what did they try to do? They tried to assassinate this man 19 times. So it's definitely, yes, a bad thing for you to start off doing wrong. But when you finally realize your mistake, then we gotta wake up and you gotta start changing things right then and have the courage to say, you know what, I was messing up. And now I want to turn this thing around and I want to get headed back in the right direction. And that's what you see Ibrahim Traoré has done. He wants to promote families. He wants to promote, stop the degradation of the women through Islam. Like he said, he wants to do like Thomas Sankara said, hey, no more child brides, no more female circumcision, none of that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? He wants to deal with the things that you can deal with here horizontally. And we understand the vertical is the most important, but we have to live on a horizontal. And one of the things that, like I said, I see that he's doing common sense things. You don't hear our black people who are quote unquote here in America that's supposed to be quote unquote Christian, as particularly our men, not thinking and acting like this. We're acting totally pampered, Babylon thinking all of this. And one of the problems is it came about with the during the black exploitation era, the 70s, with the superfly, the pimp, the pimp persona that started in the 70s, and then it just kept moving. It just kept reforming itself into, you know, the hip hop thing, where you see some of these videos where how the men treat the women and how they look out for themselves, to where you hear now that people that are getting into criminal enterprises and different things are not even taking into consideration that they're going to affect those that are around, and they don't care. You know, it was once a shame if you was a child, right, that you would get involved in anything that would bring down the name of your family when it dealt with stuff going again. But now, because we have got such a lawless attitude, now some of our heroes in the black community, unfortunately, are people that are acting in lawless ways. Think about P. Diddy. What was the name of his record company? Bad Boys. What was the name of some of the other record companies? Death Row Records, Ruthless Records. What's the other one? With Jimmy Iovine. I can't think of it. It's been so many that we have promoted such this thought into our people, and particularly our men, of not being that warrior against your enemies, but being that compassionate for those in amongst us that are weaker, that need defense. We need to see the example of what Ibrahim Traoré is doing. Not in a religious way, I understand what I'm saying, but I'm saying just as how a man should operate. One of the things that you see when he goes to the villages, and this is how you can tell a lot of times the heart of, and I don't want to blanket this all the time because sometimes this might not be the case, but you'll see him going to the villages, and to some of the families that might have lost a son in their fight against the terrorists, right? And they might have a little boy, a little girl, and the first thing he'll do, he'll reach out to that child and he'll bring them around with the parents there now, and the camera's running. He'll put them on his lap, and you'll look at the children. You can tell that they feel safe around him. Our youth don't a lot of times feel safe around our elders like that, because some of them have ulterior motives. And so we got to cultivate that as black men here in this America within yourself. that you make yourself available. If the Most High Yah puts you in that situation, just for those that are not just around you, but those that are out there at your job or whatever, that you can be a person that people can come to for help, but also that if you're a person that is not of integrity, if you're a person that is getting engaged in stuff that you shouldn't, that person that's doing that would know, I can't be around so-and-so because he or she is not going to put up with my mess. They ain't going to let me come in their presence and talk about something illegal that they're doing, some download that they're doing. You know, like some of the things you see sometime when you see a natural disaster to come and or like riots or something like that, and you'll be seeing people running in and out of stores, grabbing TVs and different things like that. That you won't get caught up in that kind of lawless stuff as a black man. You know, that you would be the one to tend to say, you know what, I gotta make sure. And this is a side note. You remember the stuff that happened in Baltimore with Freddie Gray when they start, riding there, and you remember that black mother who went down there to, I think it was a CVS that was being rioted. And I think they said she seen her son, her teenage son, and she got in her car and ran down there, and she called him and she grabbed him, and they was filming it, and she was hitting out. I understand, but she was doing what she thought was right. She said, I don't want my son to get locked up and all this stuff. So she was beating him and said, get in this car, get out of here. You're not supposed to do this. Unfortunately, that shouldn't have been her place to have to do that. That's where the black men should have been, not only to stop him, but all of those young black people that were doing that. But we have lost that. We have lost that. And this is what Ibrahim Traore, who's a young man, he's not an old man. He's saying, I'm willing to step into that gap where the elders around here in Burkina Faso that's only concerned with getting money, I'm willing to stand into the gap. This is supposed to be the heritage of us as Hebrew men. When you see people like Moses, and when you see people like the prophets who were standing in the gap, Ezekiel, standing in the gap for the people. And I'm not trying to say, but just begin with your own family. Begin with those around you, your mothers, your fathers, your brothers and sisters, those that will allow you, because all are not going to allow you. But I'm just saying, if you want for a model, you know that Yeshua is the best model, but I'm saying for those that you can see with your eyes, actually see, look at what that man Ibrahim Traoré has done, and understand that if we had just maybe 5 prominent black men in this country that not just have the appearance of integrity, but were actually acting in integrity as he, and also being in that powerful position that he had, that he's doing all these things, getting buses for the people, tractors for them to grow their own thing, and he's an intelligent person. Not just he's a what they call a soldier scholar, because he actually is a college graduate. He went to school, I think, for genealogy, and also has, I think, a minor in political science. So his family was expecting him to go into business, mining, but he chose instead to go into the military. So he's not nobody dumb, and he understands the geopolitics. He understands about the mining, all of that stuff. And he's taking all of that and saying, I don't want a president's salary. I want to keep my captain's salary. I want a plain vehicle that might be up armored, but it's a plain vehicle. It's not flashing, so that I can get out into these rural areas to deal with the problems of the least of these. And this is what I'm saying to us as black men, as Hebrew men in this country, we got to step up our game in 2025 and beyond, because a lot of things is getting ready to happen, and you're gonna have to take hold of the reins and guide your family through it. And the Most High will give you understand. I say, this man, he's not claiming Yeshua, he's not claiming him, but look at the stuff that he's doing. Now, I say, like Yeshua said to one of the people that he met during his ministry, he told the one of the men, he said, what is the, I think he asked Yeshua, what is the greatest law? He said, and Yeshua said, love the Lord thy Elohim with all thy heart, mind. And then he said, and the second is the same. And then the young man finished it. And he said, you are not far from the kingdom of Yah. And I think about that when I think about Malcolm X, that he had that kind of heart of integrity. When he stood up against Elijah Muhammad, when many was cowering down, when they knew once Malcolm got the knowledge of what was going on, he stood up against him. And this is one of the things that Ibrahim Traoré did too, because the guy that was in before that had become president, he stood against him and said, you are not doing for the people like you said you was doing. And that's one of the things, we have to be bold in this thing. We got to get out of this effeminate way of thinking as black men when it comes to how we talk to people, right? We just got to tell it to them plain, because some people need that lion roar on them. Some people, we used to say, slap some sense into you. Some people do need some sense slapped into them sometime. And so we as black men, we gotta do it. We don't. Now it is some of us that's out there doing it, because definitely the revolution is not always going to be televised, but we could use a whole lot more. And so I'm saying to you, like I said again, black men out there, you gotta be willing to lay it all on the line. The Most High will do it for you in the year 2025. For all you out there in LA, because that fire is not just gonna burn down rich people houses. It's gonna get some of our people's houses out there too. And we're gonna talk about that. We have a lesson. We're gonna talk about that. We gotta be prepared for that. You gotta be prepared in your mind as a black man, that everything that's in front of you in the times that we're living in now can be taken, either through natural disasters or any kind of way, and that you're gonna have to have enough faith in Yah that if it's taken, he's still gonna take care of you, that he can give it back to you just like that if he want to. And so we got to walk in that confidence. That's another thing, confidence. Now again, like I said, Ibrahim Traoré has never said to me or anybody else that I know of that he is a believer in Yeshua, but he's walking in confidence. Now he used the word God because, Allah or whatever, because I said he's Islamic, right? What I'm saying, how much more us who say we're believers walk in that confidence and manliness that he has, and stop dilly-dallying around here, right? This is one of the reasons sometimes when you see some of these channels out here where the women will be saying, they'll be saying, I don't want a quote-unquote good guy, or a Christian guy. I don't always think that's what they're saying in that sense. I'm thinking that it's saying sometimes these good guys are, like I said, some that are out here getting these manicure, pedicure, all this other kind of crazy stuff. Oh, I gotta have my special water. I gotta have my I got my extensive watch collection. I got a different watch for every. And they said, hey, they always going after the quote unquote roughneck guy. But one of the major things that women want to know is if that man that they're, understand what I'm saying? It's a wicked alternative that they're going, but women want to know that the man that they are with will protect them and provide for them. And unfortunately, we have got this thing so mixed up that if you're going to be a good guy, you got to be, that means you got to mind your own business. You got to be mealy mouth. You got to be whatever. But then if you want to be one that's going to be strong and all these things, that means you got to have a gun. That means you got to beat up people. That means you got to you got to neglect the weak. You got to neglect that which is whatever. We got it mixed up. It's Yeshua, when he came, the crowds crowded into him, but the Pharisees hated him because he went after them with a vengeance. When he went into that temple with the cat a nine and chased them money changers out of the thing and overturned the tables, and also told Herod, he said, when Herod said, I need Yeshua to come here and perform some miracles for me, he said, you go tell that dog I'm doing miracles and everything, but I'm not coming to your palace to be no parlor trickster for you. Get out of here, you dog. We got to get to that point. This is what happened with Jacob, Yaakov, when he was fearing Esau, when he was going back into the land. And what did the Bible say? He said he had sent his family on, and he was praying. He said, oh, Yah, oh, Lord, I fear my brother Esau. And what did Yah do? He came in the form of an angel and wrestled with Jacob. And Jacob thought that was his brother Esau. He said he wrestled with him till daybreak, till he understood, no, this is not just this is somebody else. And the Bible said he was wrestling with who I believe he thought was Esau. He said, I'm not going to let you go until you bless me, because he thought it was Esau. And then what did Yah say? He said, all right, let me go because the day is breaking. And he said, I'm not going to let you go until you, he said, okay, I'll let you go because now as a prince, you have power with men, your brother Esau, and with Yah. Because it was me you was working with. And then he said he put his thigh out, right? And then he said, what is their name? He said, why do you ask my name, seeing it was secret? See, he didn't know it was Yah. He was wrestling with the pre-incarnate Yeshua. And he put his joint out. And he said he never walked the same again, meaning that fear and all that stuff he had for his brother Esau and all that was gone. He said, I got it, man. I got it. Now, he was respectful when he met Esau. You know, he bowed to him and said, hey, you know, whatever. But he didn't make he just said, I'm glad to see your face in peace, because I know last time we seen each other, you said you killed me. If you saw me again, he said, I'm glad to see. But he didn't say, I'm sorry that I still got the blessing and the birthright. Because Yah said, now you got it the right way. So now you don't have to be apologetic for that. So that's, as black men, as Hebrew men, that's not be apologetic when we know Yah has told us certain things. Like I said, Ibrahim Traore, not being a believer, he's not apologetic for doing none of the stuff that he's doing. He's not doing nothing bad, but I'm saying there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, you did a coup, oh, you did this. He's like, I'm not apologetic for none of the stuff I'm doing. I'm taking care of my people. I'm walking in confidence. I'm walking in boldness. And even if you kill me, I'm going to go down doing what's right. Shouldn't much more the people of Yah, in particular the men of Yah, Yah is looking for that. Let's stop waiting for the 144,000. Let's stop waiting for the 2 witnesses. You are a witness. We're letting people of other faiths and all these things outdo us. While all this stuff is going on, we talking about, oh, the black woman is doing this, and oh, look what they doing, the black woman. Forget that. You stand up. If you think that the black woman is getting too much shine or whatever it is, do what you're supposed to do and be concerned with what you're doing when y'all think you prepared. He gonna raise up the men and those women who are righteous, godly. They gonna move outside. They move to the side. But right now they don't have, here in America, they don't have no confidence in us as black men, especially us elders like that, because we haven't been operating like that. We have not been moving like that. That's just be honest. You can see that with the passport bro thing. And this stuff was going on even before the passport bro thing. Like I said, it started long time ago. Because where there's whores, there's whoremongers. Well, remember, when we sin, that's when the curse came into the land. So it's always been on us. But like I said, what you see with Ibrahim Traoré, he's trying to reverse that with the time that he has. So that's how some of this damage that we have done as black men, as Hebrew men around us. Let's try to reverse some of this, one person at a time, one day at a time. So with that, I want you to give this video a thumbs up. I want you to subscribe. I want you to leave a comment. And I want you to be blessed. Shalom.